how do you capture the patient voice throughout the life cycle of drug development to understand what is important to patients?
How do we get the patient voice in? How do we get it heard? And how do we get it influential as this new and evolving area is coming out?
We need to be broad in how we get that voice, how we listen to that voice and incorporate it.
You're listening to surrogates, doctors, researchers who are telling you what's important to the patient, and guess what? It's not what the patients are telling us is important. You're shooting at the wrong targets.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are really excited about the discussion that we're going to have here today. It's a really important one. So our mission at BioNJ is to make sure that New Jersey is a robust life sciences ecosystem where science is supported, companies are created, drugs are developed, and patients are paramount because, as we all know, they just cannot wait. And so today really speaks to the mission at BioNJ. It's at the heart of everything that we do.
So we're talking about patients, and we're talking that across the board, one size does not fit all.
We need to define what matters to the patients, what patient preferences need to be incorporated. It's not what the physician or the research scientist often thinks. It's something very personal to that individual patient.
It's important that patients have a full voice. We've got to make sure that they have a voice that's influential and being considered when we're developing these value measures.
Part of this is driving cultural change, communicating what works and what doesn't, and removing the regulatory uncertainty.
3 years ago, I was stricken by shingles on my face and in my right eye. I then developed glaucoma and cataract. My physician determined that I was highly sensitive to preservatives and inactive ingredients in eye drops, and he gave me a sample of a drug to try to lower the pressure, and it worked. My insurance carrier then applied step therapy protocol to this drug. The entire process was burdensome to the provider and to me as the patient. Instead of covering the initial drop for $180, the carrier has now covered well over $14,000 to date, and it looks like I will lose my eye in the next year.
Virtually every member of my family was diagnosed with one or more chronic diseases. I watched how the system deployed its resources in such a way that it took important members of my family away.
I would not be alive today if certain systems like NHS systems exist come our way. Fortunately, my doctor had access and choice in the right medications, and I became as close to being cured of an incurable disease as was possible.
I'm not going to go through life with the feeling that I'm worth less, or with feeling comfortable with policy decisions that say that my life here or my life is worth less than other patients.
We want to be viewed as assets in our healthcare system, not as liabilities.
The right drug to the right patient at the right time must happen.
We need to continue to shift the culture of how we develop new treatments. Personalized information, genomic information, patient-reported outcomes all need to be collated, gathered, and put forward.
We're bringing in the FDA, we're bringing in a couple of insurers, and we're going to follow patients in the real world and see how well they do on different types of combinations, and then we will capture that data and the outcomes, and we will feed it back into the system.
So what are we going to do with that data? How's it actually going to be useful, and how are we going to turn that into knowledge that actually enables and helps the patients? They took patients who had metastatic cancer, and they looked at which ones where the doctor chose to do a genetic test, and then give them targeted therapies based on the output of that genetic test, versus patients where they just gave them standard of care. And it turns out that the patients with the genetic tests that were optimized to targeted therapies not only did better, they saw an improvement in progression-free survival, but they also had lower costs.
There is a path forward with greater, more precise use of real-world evidence and predictive data analytics to assess value that's far more patient-centric than what we're seeing now in all of the frameworks that we've been talking about.
You need to be patient-focused to succeed.
There exists for a patient a drug that works for them.
That First Medicine in Pompeii has given my kids 13 and a half years more of life.
It's not enough just to sort of play nice with ICER. We need to create our own metrics. This is a marketplace of ideas, so we have an opportunity here to add to that marketplace.